Christopher Columbus's time, a little bit earlier, a little bit later, is when that he was explorer, and then there will be the other one, which will be nicknamed Ike because he will be named Ike after Sir Isaac Newton. And then there will be another one nicknamed Leo after Leonardo da Vinci. I can't talk today. And these 3 probes will be sent to land on the surface to try to survey for bigger life forms or possibly intelligent life forms. And so basically how their entry is going to work is they will be comprised of the standard unit of transportation with conventional rockets, and they would get into orbit, and then they would go into the planet, and like the spacecrafts land on Earth, is they will go into a lazy S pattern to try to burn off excess speed before ejectors go from the bottom, and they tilt up and they shoot until they have a crash into the ground, hopefully safely, and then it is thought to be, so that's how they're going to land. And once this happens, they will have a robotic head that will shoot out with, I think it was hundreds of sensors that were actually on this head of it, with comprised of, I think there was 4 cameras that are constantly surveying everything in motion and sound sensors.
The probes are actually inside the landing vehicles themselves, so when the probes come out, they're equipped with camera discs. They have little spider crawlers that can explore the ground.
Also equipped with a camera,
yeah.
Which is meant to be used when there are areas that can't be reached by the actual probes. And so they will kind of just be able to get underneath or inside of things. And then the camera discs are able to travel at high speeds to try to survey objects. And these probes will also have the intelligence of a 4-year-old. Their computers will have the intelligence of a 4-year-old. And those will be able to transmit back to the supercomputer, the Von Braun. And these things, how they're able to be up, is they have this large hydrogen sac, which will be comprised after they will try to refuel with the massive amounts of steam that are on Darwin 4. And they will refuel themselves with the massive amounts of hydrogen that are in the air. And that's what they will use to keep themselves, running, because hydrogen fuel.
Hydrogen being lighter than air,
they're able to actually move through the air. The highest of their speed capability is 30 miles per hour, so that's why they have the camera discs, which can travel at over 100 miles per hour to try to keep up with anything if they aren't fast enough to move with it. So that's the composition of these probes and the supercomputer, and by the time we're actually be able to get anything substantial, if there is life, it is approximated to be somewhere between 60 and 70 years before we hear if there's life on the planet. So
yeah, they're going to survey the planet as long as they can, and I don't know if the Von Braun is going to be continuously shooting back data, which I think it should. I don't think it should wait until if the probes explore for a year. I don't think they should wait a year to. It should give an update every day. So every day, new information is sent back in case it's destroyed by a meteor storm or something. So.
But also don't hold your breath, because it's going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah, most of us who are a little bit older, middle-aged or more, are probably not going to be alive when they finally hear back from this thing. So. But it's cool. The movie's called Alien Planet. It is on the Science Channel.
You should definitely check it out. It's something that interested us, and if what you've heard interested you, you should definitely check it out. So what's our next topic?
Alright, we're going to move on to...
Dun, dun, dun.
Let's see. Oh yeah, I want to talk about a documentary I watched about a research expedition that some American researchers went on an expedition on the Amazon River because they had found some fossils of what they believed to be a mega piranha or giant piranha that had lived about 8 million years ago in the Mycenaean era, and they wanted to do some research on it. They was curious because this particular piranha had 2 rows of teeth, which in itself is not unusual, but it had 1 sharp row and 1 flat row, like what would be like similar to our molars. And they wanted to find out why it had 2 separate rows of teeth. So in order to do this, they had to go and research all of the current living species of piranha, as well as some of the cousins and genetic offshoots of the piranha, to try to figure out lineage and possible reasons for the the difference in the size and the type of teeth that it had.
And if it's possible for it to have been anything else, like a supermassive pacu or of some sort. So
yeah, so anyway, they basically started out their voyage on the Amazon River, and they first encountered what they called the vampire fish, and this is a cousin of the piranha. It's called pariah or piara. I can't remember the exact pronunciation of it, but it is the cousin of the piranha, and it's a prehistoric fish. The vampire fish is called a piara, and they also wanted to move a little bit farther to research the other 2 types of actual piranhas that were living there. The black piranha
and the red-bellied piranha.
The red-bellied piranha, which are basically meat eaters. They have 1 row of sharp teeth, as opposed to another fish that they want to research, the pacu, which is basically a veggie eater.
Well, what was believed to be a veggie eater?
It has 2 rows of teeth, but the 2 rows of teeth that the pacu has are flat like molars. So instead of having a sharp row and a dull row, it has 2 dull rows with a pocket in between. And
so
basically, when they were traveling, they ran into some problems because they were traveling upriver against the current. They had to spend a lot of time out of the boats, literally pulling the boats up the river through the rapids, because they couldn't drive it. They couldn't drive it because the water was so shallow. So they had to, the team they hired everybody had to get out and literally pull the boats, and it was dangerous. There's stingrays on the bottom of the river and all kinds of things that could bite and stuff like that. And
also a little interesting factoid about the pacu is that they were believed to be vegetarian for quite a while, until now, which they are also thought to be omnivore, because they have been known to bite humans with their teeth. And what they would explain is that these native tribes, when they would go to either wash dishes or bathe themselves, is they would describe like human bite marks on their legs and such. And until now, they believed it was just a carnivorous mermaid or something, is what the tribes believed. And so, just a little interesting factoid, is they were actually getting bitten by these pacu that are now believed to be omnivores. So
the scientists on this expedition, they were essentially, spending their time collecting DNA, literally, dissecting the fish, measuring everything about their bone structure, their jaw bones, their teeth, their sizes, things like that. While they were doing this, though, they had to negotiate with the local Indian tribes that were in the area in order to get permission to search for and research the fish in these waters, because it's just one of the most recent developments was that the Indians were just given the right to actually own the segments of the waterways in which their tribes lived on. So this is a new development. But the problem was there was some politics involved, because the governments of the sovereign countries were actually building a dam that was going to potentially cause water flow issues for the people, the tribes that live on the Amazon, and they're upset about it. So the researchers were worried that they were not going to get permission to travel the whole length of the Amazon they needed to go in order to find the different species of fish, in order to get a full DNA, background of the full DNA family tree of the piranha that they were trying to research. So without permission, they couldn't go. So they ran into the Aurora people who actually gave them permission. They were these were the first people that were recognized as actually owning the waters in the Amazon. So, the scientists, they got permission, they got out, they played soccer with them, and had a day and just hanging out and enjoying themselves. And the Aurora people helped them out. They actually gave them some fish, and it was kind of cool. And they did their testing on it, and they tested they found some black piranha and white piranha, and they found out that they were doing one of the things they were doing was tests on bite pressure, because they wanted to see how formidable of an animal this mega piranha might have been. So they were doing tests like that. But before they moved on with their testing, I thought what was cool. One of the things they did was they actually gave the Aurora people an outboard motor, and apparently the outboard motor to them was like worth their weight in gold, because they don't have them. So they gave them the motor and fuel and a means to get more, and this meant the ability for them to do a lot more and a lot better fishing. So,
which is basically kind of like the old saying, you can give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day. You can give a man an outboard motor and he'll be able to fish for the rest of his life.
Right, exactly. So anyway, they got permission to go upstream from the tribal elders, and the elders actually gave them 2 pacu out of their own stores to test, but they were dead, and the researchers needed live ones. So
it was a generous donation, but it was sadly unusable.
Yeah, in order to test how the jaws actually worked, they had to have live test subjects. They had to work their way farther up the river. And like we said before, they were checking bite pressures of the different animals, and they ended up finding out that the red and black piranhas would have somewhere between 55 and 69 pounds of bite pressure,
which is
30 times it's literally 30 times
their
weight as compared to a great white shark, who has
only the equal amount to its weight.
Yeah, equal amount of bite pressure to its weight, because it's so big. So in terms of its size, the piranhas are very deadly. So
just imagine, which we'll get onto that, but just imagine if there was a giant piranha. Just imagine the bright bite pressure that it could have had from just being so massive and being related to the piranha and such.
So when they finally got upstream, they met with another group of Indians, and they were so thrilled to actually have them there and have them helping them research the fish, that these Indians actually gave the researchers their entire catch of fish. So they had plenty of pacu to do their testings on. And what they learned is that the pacu were one of the first things they figured out is that the pacu would wait in the calm, shallow waters, and they'd wait to hear for the distinctive sound of nuts falling in the water, and they would actually eat the nuts. And what they realized was that those 2 rows of teeth with the pocket in the middle was designed for that. They would put the nut in that pocket, and they would use the bite pressure of their jaws, and they would actually crush the nut to eat it. So, when they finished their testing, they came to realized that based on the size of the mega